Disney movies are known for their magical worlds, fantastical stories, and lovable characters. However, what many people may not realize is that some of these movies were actually based on real cultures. Viewers from every corner of the globe now have an opportunity to see themselves in the mainstream. In this video, we will take a closer look at some of Disney's most popular movies and explore the real cultures that they were based off of. Starting off with, sitting at number 10, Encanto. Encanto is a showcase of everyday life in Colombia, from aspects of Colombian culture such as reggaeton to Cali salsa, the Colombian mountainscape, and lively flora and fauna. Through the celebration of food, music, and family, the magical household represents a wide variety of cultural diversity that accurately reflects the majority of the Colombian population. As an homage to Colombian history, Encanto does not hold back when it comes to the topic of the displacement and political conflict that has historically affected its citizens. Throughout Mirabel's journey, the idea of a home is not one that is situated in a singular location, but rather through the preservation of art, nature, and heritage. As seen in the ethnic diversity of the Madrigal family, the movie focuses on the building of relationships as a sense of community and companionship. Next up, we have Brave. Disney's Brave introduced the whole world to the cultural history and beliefs of medieval Scotland. It gives praise to the country through a complicated narrative and setting that showcases the folklore, fashion, and Scottish nobility of the 10th century. The film elaborately recreates the lush landscapes of the Scottish Highlands through the backdrops of traditional standing stones and carvings on Pictish stones. The film also incorporated Scottish folklore from these settings, as can be seen in the case of the mysterious Will-o'-the-Wisp, which is a major influence on Merida's journey of self-actualization. The film explores the customs of class and nobility of the medieval era by incorporating the idea of marriage and fashion as the purpose of status. Furthermore, there is also a celebration of cultural fashion, where 3 completely original tartans were designed for the film, each representing the different imaginary clans. The Walt Disney Company would later even submit the Clan Dubroch's tartan to the Scottish Register of Tartans. At number 8, Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch creates an accurate representation of the picturesque landscape of Kauai, Hawaii into its animated world. Both directors Chris Sanders and Dean Dubois made sure to ensure the native accuracy of the setting of the film. In particular, the elements of dialect, music, and dance were masterfully handled. When it came to representing Hawaiian values, the relationships between characters gave major significance to the concept of ohana, where the term family extends beyond just the limits of one's blood. As Timon and Pumbaa famously said in Disney's The Lion King, ohana means family. Disney consulted cultural dance specialist Mark Kiali'i Ho'omalu for design details in order to maintain as much accuracy as possible. Animators even mimicked the hula choreography by sketching and tracing over performances down to the most minute movements. Lilo and Stitch perfectly captured how the Hawaiian spirit lives on in the history of the island. Next is Raya and the Last Dragon. The fantastical world of Kumadra is an immersive commemoration of Southeast Asian culture. It details the cultural intricacies of architecture, clothing, and even customary traditions. The film production for Raya and the Last Dragon was in consultation with a plethora of anthropologists, architects, dancers, linguists, and musicians across the entirety of Southeast Asia. Every single aspect of the film guarantees an accurate representation of any SEA country. In addition to this, as can be seen on Raya, salakot headgear and sampot dresses represent traditional Cambodian and Filipino styles. The architecture in many of the backdrops mirrors that of each of their respective cultures, with an Indonesian rumah gedang that can be seen in Fang, as well as Taiwanese and Vietnamese floating in the markets of Talon. Even the most minute of fight scenes were also transformed into wonderfully incorporated distinct styles of Muay Thai and Pencak Silat. Next, we have Moana. The film is fully engaged with Polynesian mythology through its tales of the goddess of life and death, Te Fiti, also called Te Ka. They even had the original birthplaces of each of the islands in check. While searching for connection with the land, the film also traverses the significance of duty within Polynesian society. Moana's rules as not only the chief's daughter, but also as a wayfinder, are integral parts of her character which help her in finding her identity. The film is full of symbolic cultural elements, each representing their individual stories. The Maori Tamoko tattoos across Maui's skin reveal the stories of his past achievements, and sacred relics such as the Macau hook and the Punamu stone represent cultural preservation. Samoan and Tongan traditional dresses highly influence influence the character and costume design process, with beautifully woven Nagatu storytelling patterns that can be seen in the final costumes. Then sitting at number 5, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Being one of Disney's darker films, the film opens up a debate on race, class, and religion. Esmeralda and Quasimodo's identities represent marginalized people, which is a sentiment that reflected the attitudes of 15th century France at the time. Adapted from Victor Hugo's Gothic novel of the same name, Disney chose to preserve the story's mature themes in order to ensure a culturally accurate portrayal. With the heavy influences of Roman Catholicism in power, the film depicts such attitudes through its themes, as can be seen with how Esmeralda is treated, as she faced religious alienation, political corruption, and discrimination just because of her Romani ethnicity. The film also ensured aesthetic accuracy by flying the animators out to Paris so that they could capture the exact architecture of the Notre Dame in person. Then we have Ponyo. Influenced by the port town of Tomonura, Ponyo is a showcase of Japanese culture through a wide array of thematic and aesthetic elements. Telling the tale of a young fish girl who had been put into the world of human beings, this Studio Ghibli classic film is a cheery representation of Japanese mythology, lifestyle, and values. Going further beyond Ponyo's first encounter with the classic tonkatsu ramen, the old-town Japanese culture exudes heritage and traditional living. The inclusion of the goddess of mercy, Guanyin, is an important homage to Asian folklore. Her role as a maternal figure as well as a mediator is also true to traditional Buddhist history. Ponyo has a symbiotic connection with bodies of water, which references the balance of nature as one of Japan's most important virtues. Although this is a more nuanced display of cultural appreciation, Ponyo is something that you must experience for yourself rather than hear someone else talk about. Number 3 is Coco. Coco is considered to be one of Disney's most accurately detailed movies in regards to cultural representation. It celebrates the rich historical and cultural values of Latin America and Mexico through a colorful showcase of aesthetics, theme, and music. It traverses the deep concept of ancestral bonds and honors traditional ceremonies such as the Day of the Dead festivities with detailed costume and set design. Customary symbols of the afterlife such as marigold flowers and Veladora candles are recurring objects throughout Miguel's travels. Traditional literature and folklore are also discussed in detail throughout the film, which gives further background on the lore behind certain beliefs. The film's accompanying soundtrack was released in English, Spanish, and Portuguese in honor of Mexican music, sampling traditional Mexican instruments such as the marimba, jawbone rattle, and zapateo rhythm instrumentals. Then we have The Princess and the Frog. Exploring the African-American culture circulating New Orleans, The Princess and the Frog is one of Disney's most successful portrayal of race and religion in an American context. The film exhibits the practice of Southern voodoo, a religion customary to many who live in contemporary society. Creole cuisine is also an essential part of Tiana's tale. As we can see, beignets and gumbo are recipes that sit close to her heart. Southern jazz dominates the music used throughout the film, accrediting the historical black roots of the genre. Being the first black princess to be inaugurated into the Disney Princess Hall of Fame, Tiana represents a deep Southern history that has long been overdue a spotlight in mainstream media. Number 1 on our list is Turning Red. Disney waded into relatively uncharted territory by traversing the cross-cultural identities of first-generation immigrant teens. The film directly targeted many of Disney's Western POC audiences, where navigating the variations of old and new cultures is a common issue that many seem to face. The film also provides familiarity for Asian audiences through early 2000s obsessions such as K-pop and Sailor Moon. However, the larger sentiments of intercultural conflict, those which are relatively taboo to the Disney image, are also introduced for perceptive representation. It opened up a reflective discussion for many young Asian audiences, where confronting Asian subcultural practices is a trial in the life of many Asian teens. That's a wrap for this video. Do you know of any other Disney movies that depict real-life cultures? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.